Thank you, Kim, for joining Hannah and I. We are so excited to meet and so we can chat about our retreat that will be happening in February back in beautiful Ubud in Bali. We've had so much incredible feedback from the first one that we did, and we thought it was important to just get together and chat and discuss a bit more about for anyone that was still considering to sign up about just the beauty of moving to higher ground and it taking place in that incredible place of Bali.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
we're
what
so excited to welcome you back, Kim. And I know that we're counting down the days till we get to spend time together in February. And we wanted to really think about some of the pieces that make moving to higher ground so incredibly unique as an experience for anyone that would like to join us. Is there things that you find, Kim, that make moving to higher ground so different as a learning opportunity, as a learning experience? I don't even want to call it an opportunity, it's an immersive experience for the time that we're together. What what makes it so unique? What makes it so
Mm.
different from that perspective?
It's learning in action. And I know that there are other experiences like that, but this is a distinct, embodied, personal experience that really brings you into how you show up in the clinic and what you bring to your practice. And it's an organic learning experience because none of it is really pre-organized. We have such an incredible team with a la carte menu of so many opportunities of things to talk about, learn and share, but it really is designed by the needs of the participants as well as the kids that we support at the center. So it is a emergent experience, and I call it embodied learning. It transforms you as opposed to something that you add into your mind.
Mhm.
And you bring it also into your being.
That's so true.
I think the other thing I want to say is that there's something uniquely both spiritual as well as energetically and magical about the Ubud location.
Mhm.
You really don't have a choice but to feel that state of presence given the nature around you and how the environment does so much of the work, how the two of you create this incredible experience. Retreat is an understatement.
Yeah.
It's such a difficult to describe way of unfolding oneself in a group that you also feel so taken care of by the two of you.
That's wonderful because that is definitely something that we really appreciate that practitioners are, leaving often family and young children and work demands behind and often coming to Bali for the first time. So that can be daunting in itself. And I know that Hannah and I work really hard to prepare them as much as we can in the lead up to the retreat, what to expect. And then once we're there, we love to sort of just, shower everybody with love and give them everything that I guess we would love to have if we were sort of stepping into those shoes. So that's very lovely to hear that you felt that too when you arrived.
Without question. And that fear of being in a foreign place or with conditions that you might not be familiar, that leaves you in the first half hour, really,
Yeah.
in the sense of ease that is created in the environment. I also think that what's special about the creation is that people say that it transforms who they are, that they leave feeling like a different person, greater sense of peace in their heart, that it doesn't just shift you in a clinical way, but in a personal way.
Mm.
Your relationships with everybody become
Yes, I think
different.
something that was so I think for Linda and I was such a magical part of our moving to higher ground last year was not only the incredibly rich clinical conversations and dialogues, but it was as the retreat was coming to an end, as we were getting to those final evening, final morning, it was really about, as you say, that embodied change, very intrinsically about the whole being and who you were leaving that space, and almost who you were leaving that space carrying the other participants as well. It was that there was a collective shift, which I think was such a, don't want to say unexpected, but it was so intensely felt in those last 24 hours that it was, yeah, something just truly unique that came away from being together through that experience.
So true. So, Kim, why is the interdisciplinary learning style such a key part of moving to higher grounds design, and how does it really benefit those participants? I mean, the crew, I would say, the support staff that you have, rallied behind to come, is just outstanding, and I know that that is a huge part of it. But yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit more about, I guess, the goal around that and the planning.
I think when we are faced in our work with the complexity of the kids that we serve, it takes many minds to come together, many minds, many hearts, many hands to come together and think and do all of the different pieces that kids need. And, we work often in our own professional silos, but really our colleagues come alongside us, sometimes consciously and sometimes unconsciously. And I think that part of the intent here is to see the holism of shared connection with kids, and how, irrespective of your discipline, whether you're a speech path or you're an OT or a PT or a psychologist, or we, in our moving to higher ground in the United States, we just had social worker, working with kids with trauma, play therapist, working with kids with trauma, that all these different thought processes are supportive of each other. And, you're not kidding. I feel very, very blessed beyond comprehension of the people who are volunteering to be the support staff. These are like my dream team. Oh my gosh. And it's people with such reverent experience from across the world. It's just so humbling to think about Logan Gurusamy, PT from India, Lista Spenceley Tabernak from Canada, who's an art therapist. Logan is a PT. Manoj Patnapuram from Singapore, who is a speech path extraordinaire, as well as an executive director of an entire school. And Kim Cox, our yoga therapy specialist. And it's just magical, in addition to all the beautiful supports that you both bring to the situation. So that team of those different minds intertwine, but also individuate.
Yeah.
And it gives us a chance to develop our identity and our overlap. And I have to credit Mrs. Bobath for that, because she really believed this was the way in her NDT training.
And I think we really saw that, didn't we, Hannah? Like over the week, there was, like, as you said, a lot of it is unscripted. It is what every person is bringing, even in the child on the day, and having that, the team members that sort of come along, and to see, how it sort of evolved with Logan doing all that work in the water with us, and then Kim breaking down like movement patterns in the NDT, and it was just phenomenal to see just how, I guess, naturally that all came about, just based on the needs and what we were seeing and our environment. When we were staying in these incredible villas with pools that we of course want to jump into and play in, and it just lent itself beautifully to that organically coming out and the work that we did in the water.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it was quite remarkable to watch that first conversation, for those, that don't get to see the behind the scenes, but to have that very first conversation about Logan recognizing the water and what we could offer in terms of, we've not done this before, but wow, what an opportunity to do, to then Kim creating that beautiful haven in the yoga space where it was an opportunity each day that she offered to all of the participants to join her in that very sacred space, and watching everyone just tap in and out of what they needed in that moment. Felt so Everyone felt so seen, I think, in those different offerings, those different opportunities that were there, which, as you say, Linda, is completely about not only the beautiful spaces, but then those minds that have come together to allow that to happen.
Cool. I think for me, what's also really key is the concepts of self-awareness, self-reflection, introspection, the capacity to deepen one's will. Supporting the conscious evolution of the human spirit is our mission, and helping people see themselves, through the eyes of acceptance and love, as well as do the hard work. I think some of our art therapy sessions were very illuminating for many of the participants in appreciating, the challenges they've experienced in their lives, but also their resilience. So there's all kinds of pieces in there. And again, the plan for personal growth emerges in front of me, dependent on what each individual needs and what they're bringing to the situation.
And so connecting that, how many moving to higher grounds have you, Kim?
Well, I don't know that I know the exact number of moving to higher grounds, but I remember the year that I started. So the first moving to higher ground was in 1996.
So you've been doing them for a while.
Long time. We've even done it in the Arctic. So, places that are, and each context is so unique. And the environment contributes significantly to that. So you're taking people from wherever they are in their skill set to a next level. That's why it's called moving to higher ground. And, I'm thinking back to Sri Lanka, where Logan and Sarah McInnes, who's now Sarah Fleming, they were my team in Sri Lanka. And this was a situation where they had never had any training at all. And so it was a school, like the school that you support in Bali, and they had no training in their history at all.
Wow.
Yeah. But the true difference about moving to higher ground is the entire intention is to support the development of you as a clinician. And the kids are our support. They're our teachers, right? And so that's been it's a shift of the lens in that regard.
And in terms of those changes, in terms of those growth points, in terms of those profound moments or profound shifts that you've seen in clinicians, are there ones that stand out in memory to you, Kim?
There's so many. I mean, from individuals going on to become researchers, to leaving their profession, that it helping them align with their heart as to what it is that they really feeds their soul, from a place of moving from burnout into continuous states of inspiration. But I think that the things that people tell me impacts them the most, or things that I see impacts them the most, is their mental health and well-being. That, we have people that come back again and again and again. In our recent moving to higher ground, we had a participant that first came in 2009 and just came back again last year. And completely different launch pad, time and space of experience, and ready for another huge leap and skill set of self-care and boundaries and developing private clinical practice. All of these different pieces become things that people come away with is, what do I want for me? How do I discover me in this experience?
Because I think moving to higher ground is a gift in that sense. I think it's unusual in our time, in our workplaces, that you feel so held by such an extraordinary team. And I think that allows for this launch pad, that allows for people to be able to come back at different times, as you say, in those different starting points, and then to come in and be completely held where they are at that moment, and be held across that 5-6 days. It is such a refreshing and such an invigorating experience, whether or not that's because you've shifted clinically or that's because you've just shifted your whole mindset about where you are in time and space. It really is a gift of time and focus to be allowed to reflect with yourself, to the level that you do.
I think one of the beautiful things about the Ubud location is the energy of rest, which doesn't sound logical when you're coming to a learning experience, that you would think that that would be critical. But what we have heard is, and based on all of the science that I, read about all the time, the default mode network, that space and time for your nervous system to have reflection. It's like a conscious choice to give yourself that gift in a safe and in a community. The members of our Moving to Higher Ground in Spokane, they have become a community where they run around and visit each other all across the world. It's fascinating to watch those relationships sustain themselves across time.
Mm, mm.
So,
And I think Linda and I very much are conscious of how busy lives are, everywhere often. And so our goal was, when we were setting up CPD Retreats, was really to allow that escape from reality. So that meant not having to really think about any of the mundane day-to-day responsibilities, to really step into the space and allow to unfold all that will, without the, I need to make a meal or go and buy a coffee or book in to do an activity. We really wanted to take those thinking parts out to allow time to be able to activate those other spaces. So yeah, we think Ubud's a pretty magical spot to be.
I just want to say thank you to CPD Retreats. That means you and Linda, for all your heart and your incredible organization and capacity to hold the space for this opportunity. So thank you very much for bringing this once again to Bali in 2026.
Yeah, we're excited, Kim, and we're looking forward to bringing into February 2026, moving to higher ground.
Great. Thank you.